Good
Hello.
morning. It's just 1 minute to the afternoon, or 1 minute to noon. Thank you very much to you from the UPSA Student Parliament House for extending an invitation to me to speak to you briefly on parliamentary procedures. I want to thank your speaker, Mr. Bright Aristotle, for this call, and also to thank the first speaker, Honorable Innocent, for opening the floor. As a matter of fact, if I want to make a full presentation, I can present for as long as 2 hours. But luckily for you, I've already done such a presentation before on parliamentary procedures, which is a recording I did back at 2022 that I'll share with you for you to have a full complement of my presentation. Now, to not take away the sweetness or duplicate the facts that have been laid by the earlier speaker, I want to humbly call on the moderator to allow for a few questions. And then from those questions, I'll be able to dive into my short presentation and then we can proceed with the program. And then after the seminar, you'd watch the presentation I did earlier on, which was 2 hours to the United Nations Youth Parliament to have a full complement of how to understand and work with parliamentary procedures. Madam Moderator, I call for you to allow for some few questions.
Um, Honorable members, as we have heard from our able speaker, he's allowing some few questions which will aid him in his presentation and also meet up to your expectation, as we said earlier. So the floor is open. If you have any question for him or the previous speaker, kindly bring it on board. And if you are in a place you can't speak, you can leave your question in the chat box. We'll attend to it. Thank you. Okay, I can see Honorable Jordan's hand is up. Honorable Jordan.
Okay. Right. Moderator, thank you so much. So my question is honored. That's honorable that you made mention of substantive, and I would like to ask that in raising a substantive motion, um, what are the things needed by or needed of to raise a substantive motion? And when a substantive motion is being raised, does it mean the motion of the House is being suspended? The substantive motion is sorted out before we continue. So that's my question.
So let's take other questions as well. Okay, someone also spoke of committee of the whole.
And then
I've taken
on
notice of
the
that. Yeah,
somebody took that's it. That's Honorable Polymath, yeah. He asked
okay,
about elaborating on committee of a whole.
okay.
Okay, Honorable Joseph.
All right, thank you
I
so
can
much,
see.
Honorable Member. My question has to do with the strangers in Parliament. You know, the first speaker, Honorable Innocent, made us understand that people who can go to the gallery and view parliamentary proceedings. Does it then mean that everybody within the gallery then becomes a stranger to Parliament?
Okay, well noted.
Thank you very
Is there
much,
any
Honorable
other
Joseph.
question?
Any more questions? Honorable Jordan, again, please. Honorable Jordan, we are listening.
You can hear me?
Yes, please.
All right. So the previous speaker made mention of that's the caucus of the house. And if so far as we are a member, that's the chamber is allowed to be accommodated by members, elected members of parliament. But I would want to ask, is there any means where a situation where a minister of state is allowed to join the house during doing business or during occasions? Because I'm privy to certain instances where a minister is given opportunity to join the chamber during sitting, during sitting. So I would want to ask, is there any situation where it's allowed that a member or a minister of state is allowed to join the house for sitting? Thank you.
Okay.
Please,
Okay.
please.
Let me take the last question from the moderator. I'm sure she has some questions as well.
I wanted to say, honorable members, kindly feel free to ask any questions you have in mind, because this is a learning platform and it's your chance to get all your confusions clear from our resource personnel.
Yeah, Madam Moderator, do you have any questions yourself?
Oh, no, please, but as we
Okay.
go on, if I have if any question comes up, I'll let you know.
Okay. So,
Thank you
how many
very much.
minutes do I have, though?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay. So, I would answer the questions and then I'll end it with my presentation. And as I stated, there is a full complement of my entire presentation with the recording I'll share with your speaker to share with you. So, Mr. Innocent spoke on substantive motions, and then there is another side to call procedural motions. As he stated, substantive motions are motions not stated on the order paper, which means they are not part of the business of the day. But however, if the speaker allows you to bring such a motion, then it becomes a substantive motion. Whereby procedural motions are motions that have been scheduled to be taken for that day. So anytime such a motion is being moved, it is being noted as a procedural motion. However, a motion can be amended. And if a motion is to be amended, it means you want to amend a motion already being moved. A motion has to be moved and seconded before it can be amended. And to amend the motion, it means you want the motion to read otherwise. So assuming the motion is that, Mr. Speaker, I hereby move that this House stands dissolved at 2 p.m. today on the 15th of April 2025. And then Honorable Innocent wants to amend such a procedural motion. He will have to rise, after the motion is being seconded, then he will rise, Mr. Speaker, I wish to amend the earlier motion being read that the House do adjourn at 2 p.m. today. I want it to rather read that the House do adjourn at 1 p.m. today. And a motion amended also needs to be seconded. On most occasions, it is prudent that the person who moved the substantive motion seconds an amended motion to give consent that he has agreed that his motion be amended. So that is it on motions. So any motion that has not been put on the order paper becomes a substantive motion, and any other motion put on the order paper is procedural. It's a procedural motion. And as you already know, any motion being moved and seconded before the motion can rest, the question has to be put. And when we say question to be put, we mean that the speaker should call for a vote on that question for the House to reach a determination. And that is when you hear the speaker say, Honourable members, motion moved and seconded. I now put the question to the House. All members in favor of this motion say aye. Then he will listen to you. Then he will say, not in favor of the motion, say nay. And then the speaker, having heard the voice vote from whether the ayes or the nays have it, at his discretion, he rules that honorable members, having heard the vote, I am convinced that the eyes have it. If he's not sure, he will say, I think the eyes have it. But when he is sure, he will say, the eyes have it straight for it. The motion is carried. Therefore, this house has or the motion moved that this house do now stand adjourned at 1 p.m. now stands adopted. And then he will bang the gavel. And then he will bang the gavel. So that is how motions are being done. Now, the second question on the committee on the whole. Yes, there are several committees of the House. We have standing committees, which are committees that are always or they are necessary for the functionality of Parliament itself. And these committees span throughout the tenure of Parliament. And then we have select committees. They are more of departmental committees created based on the ministries created by government. So they create select committees which will have oversight functionality over these departmental ministries of the country. Then the ad hoc committee on which Honorable Innocent spoke on. Those are committees formed when relevant and dissolved after their report is being presented. One example of such an ad hoc committee was during the vetting. You saw the thing that happened with the issue of them preventing Okujeto being vetted, leading to the destruction of properties of parliament. An investigative committee was formed with the Honorable Emmanuel Bedra to chair the committee. That was an ad hoc committee. And right after they presented their report to the speaker, the committee still dissolved because they were done with their job. That is a very good example of an ad hoc committee. So committee of the whole, that is a committee. You see, there are sometimes they want to discuss a particular issue, but they don't want to discuss it in plenary. When we say plenary, plenary is what you see in the house that they come around and then they do the voice vote and all those, they read statements, they pass motions. We refer to all those as plenary sessions. But the house wants to discuss a matter without doing it in plenary. The best thing that they do is that the house moves into a committee of the whole to discuss it. Mind you, the committee of the whole is chaired by the speaker as well. But anytime the committee of the whole is in session, they do it still in the same chamber. But on most occasions, the speaker moves to the clerk's table and then he presides over the committee of the whole over there. So that is the relevance of the committee of the whole. For instance, when the governor of the Bank of Ghana came, he was received by the committee of the whole and not in plenary. Anytime the electoral commission comes to discuss the LI for the elections, they do it in committee of the whole. And any other issue that does not need to be done in plenary, on most occasions that needs the entire attention of the House, is done by the committee on the whole. They even also held a meeting. I think that was on the issue of ex gratia, but it was held in camera. When I say in camera, it means that particular meeting is held off public attention. So there is no one in the public gallery and the meeting is not streamed. Also done by the committee of the whole. Yes, so that is the committee of the whole. And you can also do it as the UPSA Student Parliament House. Anytime you want to discuss a matter that you don't want it to be in plenary, then you do it using the committee of the whole. So that is it for committee on the whole. One person also asked the question on strangers, visitors, and another person also asked on whether ministers can participate. So strangers, anyone who is a stranger in the house is a minister or the vice president or any other person that parliament has invited to participate in their proceedings, but is not a member of the house. The figure is stranger. He is being termed as a stranger to the house because he's not a member of the house. However, has been allowed to participate in proceedings of the house or in the committee of the whole. Anytime ministers come and they are answering questions, non-MP ministers, they are actually strangers to the house. But however, the constitution allows that ministers are allowed to participate in proceedings of the house, including the vice president, but shall not vote because they are strangers to the house. There is a full provision in the Constitution of Ghana which allows ministers to participate. Yes. So as I stated, I gave the example of the governor to the Bank of Ghana coming, the Electoral Commission coming. All of them are strangers to the House as well. And anytime they come to participate, they participate as strangers to the House. Visitors. Visitors are anyone who is not invited by the House, does not participate in the proceedings of the House, however, observe proceedings from the Speaker's gallery. They are considered as visitors to the chamber. So anytime you go to Parliament to observe proceedings, you are not strangers, so you are visitors. You become a stranger when you participate in the proceedings of the House, but you are not a member of Parliament. That is when you are a stranger. But you are a visitor when you just come to observe. You can also observe from the inner chambers of Parliament, but when you don't participate, you are a visitor. Are you getting it? So these are the terminologies for you to understand. And then the caucuses of Parliament. The caucuses. A minister, let me just make it simple. A stranger cannot join any caucus of the House. A stranger to Parliament, including the Vice President, cannot join any caucus of the House. But on most occasions, you see them seated the by the majority caucus. It is because that is their party, but it does not mean they are part of that caucus. No, that is just the sitting arrangement that makes it look like they are part of the caucus. No, they are strangers to the House. The presentation of the budget statement and then the State of the Nation's address. You saw some of these figureheads in the Republic, the Chief of Staff, and all of them seated around there, and it looked like they were part of the caucus. No, they actually just came as visitors to observe parliamentary procedures, but they are not part of any caucus. So no minister can be part of any caucus. The caucus is clearly indicated by the ticket or the ticket on which you were elected to parliament. So currently in the current parliament, the 183 members of the NDC are automatically part of the majority caucus since it is the biggest party represented in parliament, plus the four independent members, all sum up to the majority caucus. And the minority caucus are the 88 members of the New Patriotic Party, the NPP. They make up the minority caucus. That is the caucus of parliament, and it cannot stand amended until there is a new development. For example, if the Ablekuma North issue has been resolved, then Parliament will have to relook at the caucus and officially add, if the MPP member is elected, is added to the 88 to make them 89, then the ratio is revisited. If the NDC parliamentary candidate wins at Ablekuma North, then it's officially added to the 83 NDC members, making them 84. It is only on those occasions that it will be amended, but no minister or whatsoever, or even the vice president, can join any caucus of the House on whatsoever terms. I hope I've made myself clear. It seems I've already exhausted 5 minutes, getting to 10 minutes. Let me just quickly go through these few things as we know. You know already that Parliament has something we call the ropes. The ropes. Every parliament, some parliaments you don't see them wearing it, but some you see them wearing it. The ropes are actually worn by the speaker or the deputy speakers, the clerks and the deputy clerks during proceedings. You know, the speaker sits on a different table, which is at the back of the clerks. The clerks as well have there are different types of ropes. It depends on what you want to do. So if this parliament does not have its full set of ropes, I encourage you to get it. The mace. The mace is the golden like staff that is placed in front of the clerk's table, obviously in front of the dispatch box. And it is being carried by the marshal to parliament anytime proceedings are ongoing. It represents the authority of the house, and anytime the house is sitting, the mace is over there. Usually, when the president comes into the house, the mace faces the president, but anytime the president is not in the house, the mace is standing upright. Whenever the rules of the house are to be relaxed, the mace is tilted a little bit to signify that the rules of the house has been relaxed. For example, on issues that you should be penalized for breaking or breaching the standing orders, when the rules of the house are relaxed, it's just been, should I say, it's just been seen as one of those things. They don't take it serious. It's because the rules of the house have been relaxed. So the mace is actually like just 3 to 4 feet. It's not really tall. If it's taller than 5 to 6 feet, then it is no more a mace. It is a staff. It is now a staff. If the mace that you have is taller than you, then it is no more a mace. It is a staff. Parliamentary maces are usually 3 to 4 feet. So take notes. If you are going to do yours, you do it properly. The gavel. The gavel is the hammer-like thing that you see the speaker banging. Order, other members bang, bang, bang. The gavel signifies the authority of the speaker, and it is used when decisions of the house are made or rulings of the speaker are also made. Then the speaker bangs it once. But when the speaker wants to instill order in the house, he or she bangs it thrice. Take note. When Parliament reaches a decision, a motion moved and seconded, question put, the ayes have it, the nays have it, and the speaker rules, he bangs it once. When the speaker makes a ruling, for example, honorable member, you are out of order, resume your seat. He bangs it once. That is a ruling. Maybe someone brings a point of order, Mr. Speaker, this honorable member has used a non-parliamentary language, an unparliamentary language, and I call on him to withdraw it. Then Mr. Speaker says, yes, honorable member, you are indeed out of order. Please withdraw that particular thing you said in order to instill sanctity in the house. Then he bangs it once. But when there is noise in the house or the house is going disarray and the speaker wants to instill order or no honorable members are making noise on floor or the gallery is becoming noisy, he bangs it thrice, bang, bang, bang. Honorable members, you are making noise, please be quiet, or all interventional signs cease. He bangs it thrice. Anyone else using it any other way is basically misusing it. Yes, it's misusing. So these are some of the basic things I want to share with you. I'd actually wanted to share with you the details on the different types of governance. For example, we have the presidential system of governance, the parliamentary system of governance. As you know, when you go to uh, the United Kingdom, they have a monarch, they have a prime minister, and then they have their House of Commons, House of Lords. I wanted to explain that to you, but however, I have explained it clearly in the video or the video recording that I'll share with you. And just to save time, I'll just break it down into simple terms. Whenever a parliament has two houses, it is termed as a bicameral legislature. When it has one house, it is termed as a unicameral legislature. For instance, in Ghana, because we have just one chamber, it is a unicameral legislature. Or you go to Nigeria, two chambers, the House of Representatives and then the Senate, making their National Assembly. That is bicameral. UK, House of Lords, upper chamber, House of Commons, lower chamber. That is bicameral. When you go to Tanzania, it is just one chamber, National Assembly of Tanzania. When you go to Kenya, two chambers, the National Assembly and the Senate. So have you seen I'm calling different terms? The term you use is per your own discretion. But the actual name is legislature, a lawmaking body, and the most powerful body and most representative body in a system or an organization or a country. The actual name is legislature. Parliament is the most dominant name. It doesn't mean everywhere it is called parliament. When you go to South Africa, yes, it's called the Parliament of South Africa, but they have two chambers, the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces. The National Council is the upper chamber, chaired by a chairman, the lower chamber by a speaker. When it comes to Nigeria, they have president of the Senate and speaker of the House. Kenya, they have speaker of the Senate and then Speaker of the National Assembly. So it depends. It depends. It's just all the names. As you know, even in Ghana, your municipalities, metropolitans, and then districts all have a mini legislature, which is the district assemblies, and the presiding member is the speaker figure over there. So those of you who are assembly members, that is basically a parliament, and decisions that they take hold. The president-like figure there is the municipal or the district chief executive. They have a full parliament under session. So those of you who are not really close to the grassroots after school, try and get a look at the municipal or the district assembly and see how they do. It's basically what to do. So if you're able to go through this capacity building by the University of Professional Studies, Accra Student Parliament House, you should be a good assemblyman. Those of you aiming to become members of parliament one day, you have to take this kind of thing serious. What we are doing is not a joke. If you take it very serious, you would learn a bit from it. As Honorable Innocent has stated, he's now a transform guy, and I was really amazed by how fluent he was delivering. He was basically speaking from the mind. He wasn't looking at any script or from any slides, and he was just delivering. That is how good you become if you take this serious. And as you know, you have to build your brand as a student politician, or if I may say, personal branding is very important. There are some members of parliament, you have not heard of them before, but you know about Kujeto, you know about Haruna Idrisu, you know about Sam George, and then all these people. You know about what Patrick Yalbwama, you know about Hot, Reverend Tim, you know about Hot, Alexander, all personal branding. Personal branding is very important. It makes you stand tall and out of the meaning. So if you have not taken personal branding very serious, I call on you to really look at that. You need to have your social media, have a full page, and then you optimize it, give it a full name. Please don't add honorable, just write your name, then write your positions there, and daily or frequently update it with activities you do when you go to this program and put it there. All of these are personal brandings and it helps. You are putting yourself there as a public figure. Let us not waste this opportunity in school and not just make jokes out of it. And at the end of the day, you don't get to really project what you learn out of it. It's important that you take this capacity building that the Student Parliament House is offering you serious. Those of you holding leadership position, you try, and then as much as you will get your people to be part of the decision, you lead them. You don't become a boss. You become a leader, and then they learn from you and mentor the ones who will take after you. As you know, it's a student parliament. After 1 year, if you are still in school, you continue. If you are not, if you are going out of school, someone also have to come. So you have to train the incoming speakers, deputy speakers, clerk, and all those things. The clerk is supposed to be the master of rules, but we don't see that in student parliaments. The clerks are just writing minutes. As a matter of fact, you, the clerk, should be able to advise the speaker on what to do. You should be the master of the parliamentary rules and all those. So thank you very much for this opportunity. I take it very kind to my heart, and I'm really grateful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jones. We have learned a lot from you, and you are such an inspiration to the youth out there. And I know everyone here today is actually grateful for all that you have done. And I must admit, I like the way you started the whole thing. You engage the audience by taking questions from us and then using our question to address today's issue. And as we continue, please feel free to drop your questions on the suggestion box. We have a session for questions and answers. So kindly feel free to drop your questions, or you can write it down. When we are done with everything, then you ask your questions. Until then, let's move to our next speaker. Yes, our next speaker is in the